The space station hung like a shining gem in the void. Millions of lights blinked on its surface, reflecting off its steel hull. Ships of every shape and color moved in careful paths around it. Humans, aliens, and traders from hundreds of systems passed through here every day. It was a place of commerce, diplomacy, and sometimes quiet adventure. Captain Aaron stepped off his starship and into the station's main docking hall. His boots clicked against the metal floor. He looked around, eyes sharp, alert. The station was busy, but Aaron felt at home. Space had trained him to notice everything, the smallest signs of trouble or opportunity. He had just returned from a mission near the edge of human-explored space. The mission had been dangerous. Pirates had tried to ambush his ship, but Aaron had outsmarted them. The human way of thinking, fast, bold, and a little unpredictable, had saved him. And now he was back, ready to rest and resupply. As Aaron walked, he noticed an unusual figure near the docking office. She stood out immediately. Her skin shimmered with a soft silver glow, and her eyes were like liquid amber, deep and bright. Her uniform was elegant, almost ceremonial. Unlike the practical suits most traders wore, Lyra, that was her name. She was an alien diplomat from the distant Valeris system. Humans rarely met her species, and even rarer, they interacted on friendly terms. She looked calm, but her attention was fixed on Aaron as if she could see right through him. Aaron paused. Something about her presence made him curious. He tilted his head and smiled politely. "Hello," he said, keeping his tone light but respectful. "Are you new here?" Lyra's lips curled slightly. "I am Lyra of Valeris," she said. Her voice was soft, musical, but carried a firm tone. "I am here for diplomatic talks. And you are?" "Captain Aaron," he replied. "Human Alliance starship. I just returned from a mission." She studied him carefully. "A human captain? I have heard much about your kind. Curious creatures, bold, brave, reckless sometimes." Aaron chuckled. "Reckless can be good sometimes, keeps life interesting." She raised an elegant eyebrow. "Interesting? Yes. Perhaps I will see." They walked side by side, though neither had planned to. The station's corridors were alive with traders and workers. Alien languages mixed with human voices, creating a constant hum of sound. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the hall. Sparks flew from a nearby panel, and smoke curled into the air. People screamed and scattered. Aaron immediately sprang into, "Action! Stay behind me!" he shouted, drawing his blaster. Lyra froze for a moment, her diplomatic instincts struggling against fear. Then she saw the humans helping people, guiding them to safety. She felt something unfamiliar. Admiration, perhaps. Without thinking, she ran to help a small group of children trapped near the smoking panel. Aaron nodded in approval. Good instinct. Together they led the group to safety. Lyra moved with surprising speed and grace, her alien physiology giving. Her advantages humans did not have. But it was Aaron's calm command that truly saved them. He directed people, checked exits, and made split-second decisions. When the danger passed, Lyra turned to him. Her eyes were wide, glowing in the dim light. "You humans, you think quickly. You act boldly. It is remarkable." Aaron shrugged. "We survive. That's what counts." She smiled faintly. "Survival and courage. I see it in you." They moved away from the chaos, standing in a quieter part of the station. Lyra watched Aaron carefully. "I have studied humans in theory, but I never expected this. Your courage, your connection to others, it is different from us." Aaron tilted his head. "Different can be good, makes life interesting." Lyra's lips quivered into a small smile. "Interesting indeed. They walked toward the station's observation deck. The glass walls looked out into the vast darkness of space. Stars stretched endlessly, twinkling like tiny fires. Aaron leaned against the railing, relaxed now that the danger had passed. Lyra approached, studying the stars. "You humans, you feel things deeply, yes?" she asked softly. "Even in the middle of danger, you connect." Aaron looked at her. "We do. Feelings, emotions, they help us make decisions, trust others, survive. They are part of what makes us strong." She tilted her head, absorbing his words. "I want to understand that better." He smiled. "You might, but it takes time. Humans are complicated." She nodded. "I do not mind complexity. I find it fascinating." A pause followed. Space stretched before them, silent except for the hum of the station. Lyra's gaze lingered on Aaron. She remembered a gesture she had once seen in humans. A kiss, brief but full of meaning. Something about it had stayed in her memory, lodged in her curiosity. I want to feel that again," she whispered, almost to herself. Her eyes shone like stars. Aaron blinked. He had heard humans talk of love and connection, but something about the way she said it, so earnest, so sincere, made him pause. "Again?" he asked carefully. Lyra nodded. "Yes, I do not understand fully, but I want to experience it. The connection humans share, I want to feel it." Aaron studied her. Her species might not experience emotion as humans did, but her curiosity, her courage, her openness, it reminded him of why humans were admired across the galaxy. They felt, they connected, they trusted, and they acted. He smiled gently. "Then, perhaps, you will. One day." Her eyes held his for a long moment, shining with curiosity and something else he could not name. Then she stepped back, regaining her composure. "Perhaps." The station's alarm sounded again, a soft warning that another shipment had arrived. Aaron straightened. "Duty called." Lyra turned to him. "I hope, Captain Aaron, that you will guide me in this human world. Your knowledge, your courage, I wish to learn." He nodded. "I can do that, but it will not be easy. Humans are full of surprises." A small laugh escaped her lips. "I like surprises." For the rest of the day, they walked the station together. Aaron showed her the mess halls, the trading hubs, the observation decks. Lyra observed everything with sharp eyes. She asked questions, noted details, and sometimes simply watched humans interact. Everywhere they went, humans and aliens alike noticed her presence and his. Humans admired her grace, her elegance. Aliens were curious, but it was the way she watched him so openly that made him feel something he could not name. By the end of the day, they returned to the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before them. Aaron leaned against the railing again, tired but alert. Lyra approached quietly. "Captain Aaron," she said softly, "I feel drawn to your people, to you. There is a spark in humans, something strong, something beautiful." Aaron looked at her. "It's called heart. Humans have heart. Sometimes it gets us into trouble, but it also saves us." Her eyes glowed brighter. "I wish to understand that heart, to feel it as you do." He smiled, a small, knowing smile. "Then perhaps the journey is just beginning." Lyra nodded, her gaze never leaving him. "Yes, the journey." The stars stretched before them, endless and mysterious. Somewhere in the galaxy, their paths had crossed for a reason. And in that crossing, a human and an alien had begun something neither fully understood. For Lyra, the memory of a human gesture lingered, a kiss, brief and meaningful, full of emotion, and she wanted to feel it. Again. For Aaron, the courage and curiosity of an alien diplomat inspired him. Humans were strong, brave, and full of heart, but now he saw that their strength could touch even the stars. In the quiet of the observation deck, two very different beings stood side by side, watching the galaxy. And for the first time, they both felt that the universe was a little smaller, a little warmer, and full of possibilities. The hum of the starship filled the cabin as Captain Aaron prepared for departure. His ship, the intrepid Dawn, was sleek and fast, built for long journeys and dangerous encounters. Every surface gleamed with polished steel, every system monitored, carefully by humans who had designed it to survive the harshness of space. Lyra stood beside him, still observing every detail. Her glowing eyes scanned the instruments, the blinking lights, and the rows of controls. She had never seen a ship like this. On her planet, starships were designed for diplomacy and display. They were beautiful, yes, but not made for survival in the wild reaches of space. "This ship, it feels alive," she said softly, almost in awe. Aaron laughed, the sound echoing through the cabin. "Alive? Maybe. But mostly it's tough. You need a ship that can think fast when danger comes." Lyra tilted her head. "Humans, you always face danger, yes?" "Sometimes," Aaron replied. "But we survive. That's the point. We think, we plan, and we act. That is what humans do best." A small smile crossed Lyra's face. She liked that answer. Humans did not just exist. They fought. They adapted. They thrived. Something about their spirit fascinated her. As the intrepid Dawn left the station and moved into the emptiness of space, Lyra spoke again. "Captain Aaron, I have come to ask for your help. My system. There is a conflict brewing. It is not yet war, but it may become one. I wish for your guidance, your knowledge of humans, and your courage." Aaron looked at her, surprised. "You want me to help your people? That is a big responsibility." She nodded. "Yes, but I trust humans. I see your strength, your heart, and I believe you can help. Will you come?" Aaron considered it. Space was dangerous. Her system was far from any alliance protection. But something about her trust, her curiosity, made him say yes. "All right," he said. "I'll help, but you'll have to trust me completely." Lyra's eyes shone. "I will. I trust you." The journey began in silence at first. Stars moved past the ship's windows, endless and bright. Lyra studied the instruments while Aaron plotted a safe course. For hours they spoke little, each lost in their own thoughts. Then, without warning, the ship's alarms blared, red lights flashed, and the hull shook with a sudden impact. "Asteroid field!" Aaron shouted, gripping the controls. "Hold on!" Lyra's body reacted faster than her mind. She clutched the railing, adjusting her balance with alien agility. The intrepid Dawn twisted and turned, narrowly avoiding rocks the size of small mountains. Aaron's mind raced, calculating angles, speed, and trajectories. Human ingenuity shone in his every move, unexpected maneuvers, daring shortcuts, precise timing. Lyra watched, fascinated. She had never seen such quick thinking, such bold action. After several tense minutes, the last asteroid passed. The ship floated into calm space again. Lyra's chest heaved, and she looked at Aaron with wide eyes. You think so fast," she said. "It is remarkable." Aaron smiled, brushing dust from his shoulder. "We call it instinct and experience. Humans survive because we adapt. We never stop thinking, never stop trying. Danger is just part of life. Lyra nodded slowly, absorbing his words. Your people are different from mine. You take risks, yet you protect others. You care for things beyond yourself. Aaron shrugged modestly. That's what makes us strong. Teamwork, trust, heart. Lyra's gaze softened. Heart, she whispered. I want to understand that fully. Their journey continued. Days passed as they traveled through quiet sectors of space. Lyra observed everything. How Aaron worked, how he ate, how he rested. She was fascinated by human routines and emotions, the little ways humans expressed themselves. One evening, as the ship moved through a field of glowing nebulae, Lyra approached the observation deck. She looked out at the clouds of gas and dust, their colors brilliant and strange. Aaron joined her, leaning against the railing. Beautiful, isn't it? He said. Lyra nodded. Yes, it is unlike anything in my system. Your universe, your humans. There is something special about it. About you, Aaron chuckled. You humans have that effect on people sometimes, too. Her amber eyes glimmered. I feel drawn to it. To you. To your people. Your courage. Your kindness. It is inspiring. Aaron glanced at her. He had met many aliens before, but none had looked at him like this. So open, so honest, so curious. Humans often expressed emotion freely, but Lyra's curiosity was different. It was genuine, unafraid, and warm. Their calm was interrupted by a new alert. The sensors picked up several fast-moving ships approaching from a nearby star system. Pirates, Aaron said immediately, scanning the readings. They're trying to intercept us. Lyra's eyes widened, but she did not panic. She had observed Aaron before and trusted him. Captain Aaron, what should we do? She asked. We'll outsmart them, he said confidently. Follow my lead. The intrepid Dawn moved through space with speed and precision. Aaron used human ingenuity, plotting a path that took advantage of asteroids, gravitational fields, and even the pirates' overconfidence. Lyra watched as he predicted their movements and countered every attack. She began to understand the difference humans made. While her species relied on technology and rules, humans relied on creativity, courage, and connection. They could see patterns others could not. After a tense chase, the pirates gave up, their ships vanishing into the darkness. Lyra let out a soft breath. You are fearless, she said. Aaron grinned. Not fearless, careful, bold. But we survive because we act, not because we are without fear. She nodded slowly. There is wisdom in that. I admire it. As night passed on the ship, Lyra and Aaron talked quietly. She asked him about human emotions, about trust, and about connections that went beyond survival. He explained in simple terms the meanings of friendship, loyalty, and even love. Lyra listened, fascinated, her glowing eyes never leaving him. I think I understand a little, she said softly. Humans, you do not hide your hearts. You act with courage, but also with care. You reach for connection. Aaron smiled. Yes, that is what makes us human, and it is why we survive. The galaxy can be dangerous, but we trust each other, and we fight for each other. That is stronger than any weapon. Lyra's lips curved in a small smile. I want to feel that courage, that connection, that heart. With you, perhaps. Aaron felt a strange warmth at her words. There was something in her voice, in her curiosity, that touched him. Humans often formed bonds quickly in extreme conditions, and he could see that same instinct awakening in Lyra. The next day brought another challenge. A small distress signal appeared on their sensors from a nearby moon. Civilians were trapped in a mining station under attack by rogue robots left from an old war. Aaron did not hesitate. "Set a course," he said. "We're helping them." Lyra watched him prepare the ship. She had never seen humans act so decisively. They did not wait. They did not question endlessly. They acted. Her admiration for him deepened. Together, they landed near the moon. The humans inside the mining station were frightened, unsure of their attackers. Aaron and Lyra entered cautiously, moving as a team. Lyra's alien abilities allowed her to detect traps and scan the area quickly. Aaron directed people, ensured safety, and engaged the rogue robots strategically. After a tense battle, the miners were safe. Lyra looked at Aaron, eyes shining. "Your people. Your kind. You are incredible. I never imagined this." Aaron smiled. "We do what we must, and we survive. That is what humans do." Lyra's gaze softened. "And yet, you do more than survive. You connect. You protect. You care. That is the part I want to understand fully." As they returned to the ship, the stars stretched endlessly before them. Lyra watched Aaron closely, studying his every action. She remembered the human gesture she had once seen. A kiss, small, but full of meaning. She wanted to understand that. She wanted to experience the connection humans shared. I want to feel that again," she whispered quietly, almost to herself. Her eyes glowed with curiosity and longing. Aaron heard her, but he only smiled. "Perhaps. One day, you will." Lyra nodded. "Yes, one day." And so, their journey continued. Human ingenuity and courage had saved lives and inspired trust. Lyra was beginning to see the strength of humans, not just in survival, but in connection, emotion, and heart. For Aaron, Lyra's curiosity and trust were inspiring. He had seen many species in the galaxy, but none had approached understanding as openly, as bravely as she did. Humans were admired across the stars, but now he realized their spirit could touch even aliens, change the way they saw the universe. Together they moved through space, facing dangers, sharing moments, and slowly building a bond neither fully understood yet. A human and an alien, different as the stars and planets, but connected by courage, curiosity, and the beginning of something far greater than either could predict. The journey was just beginning, and the galaxy had no idea of the adventure that was about to unfold. The intrepid Dawn glided silently through the dark space near Lyra's home system. Stars glittered like diamonds, but the calm was deceptive. Sensors had picked up multiple unknown vessels approaching at high speed. Lyra's amber eyes widened. "Captain Aaron, these ships, they are not friendly. My people, they may be in danger." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Stay calm. Let's see what we are dealing with first." He accessed the ship's sensors, and the readouts confirmed their fears. A fleet of armed warships, unknown and aggressive, had entered the system. They were fast, heavily armed, and clearly intended to attack. Lyra's usually calm demeanor faltered. This is more than I expected. My fleet, it is not prepared." Aaron studied the holographic display. "Your fleet may not be, but humans are good at thinking fast. Don't worry, we'll handle this together." The alien. Diplomat looked at him, uncertainty in her glowing eyes. "Together?" "Yes," Aaron said firmly. "We survive by working together. That's what humans do best." As the enemy fleet approached, Aaron began plotting a strategy. Unlike Lyra's species, which relied heavily on superior technology and formal tactics, humans were unpredictable. Aaron calculated angles, attack patterns, and the weaknesses of the enemy. His mind raced, turning danger into opportunity. Lyra watched, fascinated. You're thinking, it is different. Humans do not follow rules blindly. You see possibilities where others see only order. Aaron nodded. Rules can help, but creativity wins battles. And courage. Never underestimate that. The first skirmish began suddenly. Enemy ships fired lasers and missiles. The intrepid Dawn weaved through space with speed and precision. Aaron's hands moved over the controls like an extension of his mind. Every decision was calculated, bold, and unexpected. Lyra observed from the tactical panel. Her species valued logic and calculation, but Aaron's mix of daring and intuition was new to her. Humans did not only rely on machines, they relied on each other, on trust, and on instinct. As the battle intensified, one enemy ship locked onto Lyra's convoy. It fired a barrage of plasma missiles directly at the civilian transport ships. Lyra gasped. "No! They will destroy my people!" Aaron acted immediately. "Hold on! I've got this!" The intrepid Dawn darted in front of the convoy, using its shields to absorb the attack. Aaron's maneuvers were unpredictable, taking advantage of the enemy's assumptions. He drew them away from the transports, using clever tricks and human ingenuity. Lyra's breath caught as she realized what he was doing. You are risking yourself for them. For me." Aaron grinned despite the chaos. "That's what humans do. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is how we survive and thrive." The enemy ships adjusted, trying to trap them, but Aaron's strategy was flawless. He led the attackers through a series of asteroid fields, using the terrain as a weapon. One by one, enemy ships collided with asteroids or were forced to retreat. Lyra watched, awed. Her respect for humans and for Aaron grew with every daring move. They were fearless, yes, but not reckless. Every risk was calculated. Every action had purpose. After the battle, the convoy reached safety. Lyra's people were unharmed, thanks to Aaron's leadership. Lyra herself felt a strange mixture of relief and admiration. Humans, you are extraordinary," she said softly. "I do not understand fully, but I am beginning to see your strength." Aaron leaned back against the controls, exhausted, but satisfied. Strength comes in many forms: courage, heart, teamwork. Humans have all of these. That is why we survive. Lyra's eyes softened. Courage and heart. You protect not only with weapons, but with care. That is different. That is beautiful. Her voice carried an emotion Aaron had never expected. It was admiration, curiosity, and something deeper. Something that stirred within him. Suddenly, alarms blared. One of the transports had been damaged, and its hull was failing. Lyra's people were trapped inside. Aaron's expression hardened. "We move fast. Get ready." He piloted the ship toward the damaged transport. Lyra followed his instructions, guiding them with precision. The human captain's quick thinking and calm commands kept everyone alive. Together, they evacuated the civilians before the hull collapsed. Lyra watched him work, her glowing eyes wide. She had seen leaders before, but humans led differently. They inspired trust not by authority alone, but by action, by courage, and by connection. When the crisis ended, Aaron helped Lyra to the observation deck. Her hands shook slightly, and he gently supported her. She looked at him, eyes shining with gratitude and something unspoken. You saved many lives," she said softly. "Not only with skill, but with your heart. I feel admiration. And something else I do not understand." Aaron smiled gently. "You're feeling human emotions. Connection, trust, respect. It's normal. We feel deeply, and we survive through it." Lyra's gaze lingered on him. She remembered the gesture she had seen, a kiss between humans. She had never understood it fully. But now, after seeing courage, protection, and heart in action, she wanted to experience it herself. I want to feel that again, she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Her eyes glowed brightly, shining in the dim light of the observation deck. Aaron looked at her for a long moment, understanding the depth of her words. Again? He asked softly. Lyra nodded, unable to speak. Her feelings were raw, unguarded, and sincere. Aaron reached out and gently touched her hand. It was a simple gesture, but full of reassurance. You will, one day. But first, we must ensure your people are safe. She nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. Yes. First, safety. Then, understanding. The calm after the battle allowed them to talk, quietly and openly. Lyra asked about human concepts, trust, loyalty, friendship, and love. Aaron explained simply, using examples of his crew, of humans across the galaxy, and the way small acts of connection could be more powerful than weapons. Lyra listened, fascinated. She asked questions, sometimes repeating phrases slowly to understand. She wanted to grasp the meaning fully. Humans, she realized, lived not only with logic, but with emotion. They connected with others. They risked themselves for strangers, and they valued heart above fear. Your people, you are fearless not because you do not feel, but because you feel deeply, she said softly. I wish to experience that feeling, the human connection. With you, perhaps. Aaron's chest warmed. Humans had courage, yes, but they also felt deeply, loved deeply, and inspired others. He had never met an alien like Lyra, curious, brave, and unafraid to admit vulnerability. I think you will, he said quietly, smiling. But feelings cannot be forced. They grow, they develop, and sometimes they surprise you. Lyra nodded, her eyes glimmering. I like surprises. They spent the night in quiet conversation, sharing stories of their lives, their missions, and their fears. Lyra revealed memories of her planet, her duties, and her people. Aaron shared his experiences in the Alliance, the dangers he had faced, and the lessons he had learned. Through their dialogue, the connection between them grew. Human courage and empathy had impressed Lyra, but it was the emotional openness that captivated her. She wanted to understand it, to feel it, and to experience the gestures humans shared, small but full of meaning. As the ship drifted past a glowing nebula, Lyra's voice broke the silence. Captain Aaron, I want to feel that again. Your kiss. Aaron looked at her, understanding now the depth of her curiosity. He did not act immediately, for feelings must be mutual and genuine, but he reached out, gently brushing her hand. We will see, he said softly. When the time is right, you will understand fully. Lyra smiled faintly, her eyes shining with hope and anticipation. I will wait. The stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to the human and the alien standing side by side. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and wonders, but together they had faced the unknown. They had saved lives, inspired trust, and discovered something neither had expected, a connection that could cross species, systems, and fears. The journey was far from over. Danger still lingered in Lyra's system, and challenges awaited them. But for the first time, Lyra began to understand humans, not only their courage and skill, but their heart. And for Aaron, Lyra's curiosity and bravery inspired him. Humans had survived countless threats across the galaxy. But now they were discovering that their strength could touch even those from worlds beyond their own. As the intrepid Dawn sailed toward the heart of Lyra's system, the bond between human and alien grew stronger. Trust, admiration, and curiosity intertwined, forming the beginning of a story neither would forget. The hidden moon orbited silently at the edge of Lyra's star system. Its surface glowed faintly with minerals that reflected the light of distant suns. It was quiet, peaceful, a perfect place to recover after the chaos of battle. Captain Aaron piloted the intrepid Dawn down through the thin atmosphere, setting the ship on a smooth landing near a cluster of natural caves. Lyra followed closely, her glowing amber eyes scanning the landscape. She had never seen a place like this. Wild, untouched, yet full of strange beauty. "This will be safe," Aaron said, shutting down the engines. "No one will find us here. We can rest, plan, and recover." Lyra nodded. "It is beautiful, peaceful. I like it here." They stepped out of the ship. The ground was soft under their feet, and a gentle wind carried a scent she could not name. Stars stretched above them. The galaxy spread wide and endless. Aaron looked around, and then at Lyra. "You've been through a lot today," he said softly. "The battle, the chase. You need rest." She shook her head. "I am not tired. I am fascinated by you, by your people, by what humans can do." Aaron raised an eyebrow, slightly amused. "You've said that before. Humans are interesting, yes, but dangerous if you think too much about them." Lyra tilted her head. "I do not mind danger. I want to understand humans. Your courage, your heart. It is different." Aaron smiled. "Different can be good, but understanding humans fully takes time." She stepped closer, her eyes shining. "I have time. I want to see, learn, and maybe feel." Aaron looked at her carefully. Humans often formed bonds quickly, but they also respected boundaries. Lyra's curiosity was genuine, not intrusive. He could see it in her posture, her tone, her unguarded gaze. "All right," he said quietly. "We'll take it slow. First, rest. Then, we'll see." They entered a natural cave near the landing site. It was simple, with crystals embedded in the walls that reflected light softly. The air was breathable, the temperature comfortable. Aaron set up a small area for rest, while Lyra explored quietly. She examined the cave, touching the crystals, feeling the texture of the walls, her curiosity insatiable. You enjoy discovery, don't you?" Aaron asked, watching her. Lyra turned, a faint smile on her lips. Yes. I wish to see, to understand, to feel. Not only danger, but beauty. Not only fear, but connection." Aaron nodded. "That's very human. We see the world in layers, danger, beauty, emotion, and we experience it fully. That is how we survive, and how we live." Lyra's amber eyes glimmered. "I want to live fully, too. I want to understand fully. Humans, they feel deeply. They act with heart. I want that." Aaron smiled. "Then you're in the right company." They spent the day in quiet conversation. Lyra asked about human customs, human gestures, the meaning of affection. Aaron explained simply, telling stories of loyalty, courage, and small acts that carried great meaning. Lyra listened, fascinated. She asked questions, repeated phrases, and tried to grasp the subtleties of human emotion. When evening came, the cave glowed with the soft light of the crystals. Aaron suggested they move to the observation ledge outside. The stars were brilliant, stretching across the sky in a breathtaking display. Lyra stepped forward, mesmerized. Your galaxy, it is endless, she whispered. So many stars, so many possibilities. Aaron stood beside her. And every one of them holds a story. Humans, we live our stories with courage, with heart. That is what makes us human. Lyra turned to him. I want to feel that, not just in battle, not just in danger, but in life. With you, perhaps. Aaron's chest warmed. Humans experienced connection, trust, and attraction in layers, actions, words, gestures, emotions. Lyra's curiosity was raw, genuine, and sincere. He could feel the bond growing stronger between them. You are brave, she said softly. Not only in battle, but in honesty. You show your heart. I admire that. Aaron smiled. Humans believe in heart because it matters. Courage without heart is empty. Connection without risk is shallow. We act, we feel, we care. That is what we are. Lyra's gaze softened. I want to understand that. And I want to feel it. With you. Aaron's hand moved slowly to hers. He brushed it gently, careful, respectful. Lyra's hand was warm and soft, her fingers delicate but strong. Their eyes met, and a moment of silence stretched between them. The stars seemed to hold their breath. You understand humans well, she said softly. I feel something I cannot explain. I want to feel more. Aaron nodded. Feelings grow. They cannot be rushed. But when the time is right, they will be real, full, and powerful. Lyra's lips curved into a small, hesitant smile. I will wait, but I am ready to try. He took a careful step closer, their hands still touching. Then we start small. Trust, connection, understanding. That is the first step. Lyra's eyes shone brightly. Yes, the first step. The night passed slowly, filled with quiet conversation and shared stories. They laughed together, spoke of dangers faced, of people saved, of lessons learned. Lyra shared memories of her planet, her family, and her responsibilities. Aaron shared his experiences, his fears, and his motivations. By morning, the bond between them had grown. They understood each other better, not only as allies, but as beings from two very different worlds who could connect despite differences. When the sunlight touched the cave, Lyra stepped to the ledge, looking at Aaron with glowing eyes. Captain Aaron, I want to try. I want to understand fully, to feel what humans feel, in connection. Aaron took a deep breath. He had trained for battles across the galaxy, but this was different. Human emotion was complex, layered and delicate. He moved slowly, giving her space while guiding the moment. Then we try, he said softly. Lyra's hand moved to his, fingers entwining with his. She looked up at him, her eyes shining with trust, curiosity, and longing. I am ready. Aaron nodded. He leaned forward carefully, respecting the moment, the distance, and the trust. Lyra mirrored him, closing the space slowly. The air between them seemed charged, alive with anticipation. When their lips met, it was gentle, tentative, and full of meaning. Not just a gesture, but a connection. A meeting of courage and curiosity, of trust and admiration. Lyra's amber eyes fluttered closed, her body trembling slightly. Arin's heart raced, his human emotions alive with warmth and wonder. It was brief, but it carried everything they had built: trust, courage, curiosity, and heart. When they parted, neither spoke immediately. They simply looked at each other, breathing slowly, feeling the new bond between them. Lyra whispered softly, I understand now. A little, but it is beautiful, powerful, human. Arin smiled, gently. It is, and it will grow. Connection takes time, but when it is real, it is strong. They stood together on the moon, hands still touching, eyes locked. The stars above witnessed the first true human-alien bond formed. Not just trust, not just alliance, but something deeper. The peace of the moon allowed them to recover from past dangers and prepare for future challenges. But now, something had changed. The bond between them was stronger. Courage, heart, and trust had become entwined with curiosity, admiration, and the spark of something more. Lyra's glowing eyes held his gaze. I want to feel that again, she whispered. Arin's hand tightened slightly around hers. And you will, he said, smiling. When the moment comes, you will feel it fully. They stood side by side, watching the galaxy stretch endlessly before them. The first kiss was only the beginning. Their journey together had opened a new chapter, one filled with courage, heart, and the possibility of something neither had ever imagined. The stars shimmered above, silent witnesses to the connection of two beings from different worlds. Humans had shown their strength, their courage, and their heart. And now, Lyra, the curious alien diplomat, had begun to understand what it meant to feel truly human. The universe was vast, full of danger and wonder. But in that quiet moment on the hidden moon, two beings shared something simple and extraordinary: trust, connection, and the beginning of love. The journey continued, but now it was not only about survival. It was about understanding, experiencing, and embracing what it meant to feel, to live, and to connect. The night sky over the alien city glowed with thousands of small floating lights. They were not stars, but lanterns that drifted in the air, each carrying a soft, warm flame inside. The festival had begun, and the city's streets were alive, with music, voices, and laughter. Rian stood on the rooftop of a tall building, looking down at it all. He wore the simple black jacket she had given him the night before. His mind was restless. The mission that had brought him here was almost over. Soon, the ship would come to take him away, but his heart felt heavier than ever. Behind him, the rooftop door creaked open. Lyra stepped out, her dress flowing like a river of silver in the lantern light. Her eyes found him instantly, and a faint smile touched her lips. "You're leaving," she said quietly, walking toward him. He didn't answer at first. His eyes stayed on the streets below. "The fleet will be here in 2 days. When they arrive, my orders are to return." Lyra stopped beside him. The wind lifted her hair, and the faint scent of flowers surrounded him. "And will you follow those orders?" Ryan turned to look at her. "If I don't, I'll be marked as a deserter. The council will send others after me. It won't be safe." Her gaze didn't waver. "It's already not safe. Not for me, not for you. But you once told me you would fight for the people you care about." His heart twisted. "I meant it." "Then fight," she said. Her voice was soft, but there was steel in it. "Not with your weapons. Fight for your choice, for your freedom, for—" She hesitated, then looked into his eyes. "For me." The world seemed to fade for a moment. The sounds of the festival below became distant. He stepped closer. "Lyra, if I stay, I can't promise there won't be danger. She smiled sadly. Danger is nothing new to me, Rian. But losing you, that would be something I'm not ready for. He breathed out slowly. The truth was clear. He had already made his decision. Then I'll stay. A single lantern drifted past them, its small flame flickering. Lyra reached out and caught it gently, holding it between her hands. In our tradition, she said, we whisper a wish into the lantern before letting it go. The flame carries it to the sky. She looked at him, her eyes shining in the glow. Make a wish. Ryan thought for a moment, then leaned closer to the lantern. He whispered words only he could hear, then stepped back. Lyra did the same. Together, they released it. The lantern floated upward, joining hundreds of others. For a while, they just stood there, watching the lights rise into the night, but the moment of peace didn't last. In the distance, a sharp sound split the air, a deep, rumbling boom. The city's music stopped. People began to shout. Ryan's hand went to his communicator. What was that? A voice crackled through. Unidentified craft entering atmosphere. Large, armed, and fast. His blood ran cold. It's not my fleet, he said. This is something else. Lyra's expression hardened. The Dravex. The name was like a shadow passing over the lanterns. Ryan had heard it before, a ruthless pirate faction that raided both human and alien worlds. If they were here, it wasn't by accident. Stay here, Ryan said. But Lyra shook her head. No. If they're coming for my people, I fight too. Before he could argue, the sky lit up with streaks of fire. Dropships were descending, alarms rang across the city. Ryan pulled a compact rifle from the pack he had brought, checking the charge. Fine, but you stay close. They moved fast, down the rooftop stairs and into the chaos of the streets. The festival had turned into a storm of running citizens and shouting guards. Lanterns were still drifting above, their calm light now, a strange contrast to the panic below. The first wave of Dravex soldiers hit the marketplace. Tall, armored, with glowing red visors, they pushed through the crowd like a wall of metal. Ryan didn't hesitate. He raised his rifle and fired. Energy bolts hissed through the air, striking two of them down. Lyra, armed with a slender blade of alien metal, moved with a speed that caught him off guard. She was no stranger to battle. They fought side by side, covering each other's backs. Ryan's aim was precise, each shot clearing a path. Lyra's movements were like a dance, fast and deadly. But more dropships were landing. The Dravex were everywhere. They're pushing toward the central tower, Lyra shouted. That's where your council is, right? Ryan asked. She nodded, grimly. If they take the council, they take the city. They ran. The streets became a maze of smoke, fire, and shadows. More than once, they had to duck into alleys to avoid being surrounded. Above them, the lanterns still floated, untouched, as if refusing to acknowledge the violence below. When they reached the base of the central tower, it was already under siege. Ryan took cover behind a fallen column, firing at the soldiers climbing the steps. We need to get inside. Lyra's eyes scanned the wall. There's a side entrance, through the garden. They moved quickly, slipping past a patrol and entering the shadowed courtyard. The air smelled of crushed flowers and smoke. Inside, the tower's halls echoed with the sounds of fighting. By the time they reached the council chamber, a group of Dravex had already breached the doors. Ryan and Lyra charged in together. The fight was short and brutal, 2 against many, but their will was unshakable. When the last soldier fell, the room fell silent except for the heavy breathing of the survivors. The council leader stepped forward, gratitude in his eyes. You have saved us, he said to Ryan, and you, human, you owe us nothing. Why risk yourself? Ryan glanced at Lyra. She stood there, hair wild, face flushed from the fight, but smiling. "Because," Ryan said, "some things are worth staying for." The leader nodded slowly. "Then you are welcome here, for as long as you choose." Later, after the fires were put out and the streets were calm again, Ryan and Lyra stood once more on the rooftop. The last lanterns were fading into the horizon. "You stayed," she whispered. He smiled faintly. "I told you I would." She stepped closer, her eyes shining in the soft light. "Then, can I feel it again?" His heart skipped. "Feel what?" Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Your kiss." He didn't answer with words. Instead, he leaned in, closing the distance between them. The world around them was quiet now, the only light coming from the fading lanterns above. It was not a kiss of farewell, but of a promise. One that said he was here, and he was not leaving.